Hundreds, by some estimates more than 1,000, are dead tonight in Syria, and Syrian rebels say they are victims of a poison gas attack that the Syrian government launched on the suburbs of Damascus. The government strongly denies it, but the pictures coming out of Syria tonight tell a horror story even worse than what we've seen before from their victims, young and old, dead, but with no marks on their bodies. The UN Security Council held an emergency meeting this afternoon. White House officials expressed concern, and the president has warned before that widespread use of chemical weapons would cross a red line. Holly Williams has our report, and we warn you, some of it is difficult to watch.
The videos show nightmarish scenes. Rows of lifeless bodies, many of them small children. Others appear to be dying. They're shown writhing in agony and in the grip of seizures. The Syrian opposition claims this is the aftermath of a chemical attack on a residential neighbourhood on the outskirts of Damascus. It's not the first time we've heard reports of chemical weapons being used in Syria. But if this one is real, it's on a much larger scale. The videos are impossible for us to verify, but chemical weapons expert and CBS consultant Hamish de Bretton-Gordon told us the symptoms look like those caused by nerve gas.
The quivering bodies, pinpoint pupils, the lack of any injuries or blood on the bodies, and the mass casualties. These people have died from some unconventional weapon, and at the moment, the most likely explanation would be some sort of chemical weapon.
United Nations weapons inspectors who arrived in Syria this week could confirm whether chemicals were used, but the Syrian government hasn't given them permission to visit the scene. Today, the Syrian regime denied allegations that it was behind the attack, and it's refuted any charges that it used chemical weapons throughout Syria's civil war. It's a conflict that's already cost more than 100,000 people their lives. In the last 6 days alone, more than 30,000 Syrian refugees have streamed across the border to Iraq, driven from their homes by a war that only seems to get more vicious by the day. The United Nations Security Council called an emergency meeting following today's attack, but the Security Council has called many meetings since the Syrian conflict began without ever reaching an agreement on how to end the bloodshed.
Holly, the numbers here are just all over the place. Some say hundreds, some say as many as 1,300. Is there any way to get a better handle or a fix on that?
Not at this point. Some say it was around 100 people, others putting the death toll at over 1,000. If the UN weapons inspectors can get to the scene, we'll know much more. But if they can't get in, Bob, then the truth will remain hidden away, like so much else in this bloody, drawn-out conflict.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Holly.